여보세요. It's been a while. It's been a while. It feels like it's been a long time since I've done one of these kinds of videos. Just a straight up reaction to a music video. Although it hasn't been that long, really. It's just that there's been so much of the series, the JYP project series going on now. And those are a great time. I know there's some from some of the other companies like Hybe and SM. I think they all have similar concept series. They obviously do it their own way, but I might check out some of those. Maybe down the road. There's a lot going on right now, though. So for the time being, I wanted to check out something that I've never heard before, and this is Eunbi, right? Eunbi. And this is the latest single titled The Flash. So let's check this out. Wulim. Okay. Wulim.
달콤함 뒤에 숨긴 어둠에 익숙해져가 No way 길을 잃어버린 날 비추던 빛은 희미해져가 Running in my love I know I can't hide 빠져들어 난 even it's a lie 내가 다가가 두렵지 않아 Let's fly the sky hurricane 이미 알아 나 사실은 나 반마장적이 좋아 어둠 속을 찾아내 네가 좋아 웅크린 날 위로 내민 그 손을 잡은 순간 번져와 내게 I fall in love 이밤 어서 와 내게 I cut my breath 잡힐 듯 잡히지 않아 더 가고 싶게 In my flash Catch me 내가 없는 이 시간 해가 뜨지 않는 난 항상 네 안에 있어 귓가에 속삭인 거짓은 선서 순식간에 넌 내게 녹아 Running in my loop I know I can't hide 빠져들은 난 even it's a lie 내가 다가가 두렵지 않아 Let's fly the sky hurricane 이미 알아 나 사실은 나 반마장적이 좋아 어둠 속을 찾아내 네가 좋아 손끝에 닿아온 느낌에 깜짝 놀란 순간 번져와 내게 I fall in love 이밤 어서 와 내게 I cut my breath 잡힐 듯 잡히지 않아 더 가고 싶게 In my flash Catch me It came to me In my flash Catch me 사라지지 In my flash 천천히 물들고 있어 넌 어둠에 다 취해 나의 세상을 다 흔들어 놔 번져와 내게 I fall in love So fast 이밤 어서 와 내게 I cut my breath 잡힐 듯 잡히지 않아 더 빠져들게 In my flash addiction I can let go It can't keep me In my flash addiction I can let it go 사라지지 In my flash
Oh man. I didn't even have the subtitle. That's okay. I first saw Eunbi like really just pictures of her, and she's incredibly beautiful. I mean, she's gorgeous, man. She's quite glamorous, at least in this video, you know. I mean, it's super high resolution imagery. Like the production quality on the visuals, like off the charts. You know, it's so like crisp, right? Like everything is so just immaculate. Like all these different video sequences and stuff. Visually, it's quite engaging. It's quite a treat. She's got kind of a unique style. Well, I'm accustomed to seeing the group type of performance, and also, you know, kind of like, you know, from certain groups, right? Once you like start to get into certain groups and watch them, you see like, you know, a few videos, listen to a few songs, and you kind of get an idea for like, okay, this is their style. This is like totally something they would do. And then even their particular vocals, you know, like the quality of voices and everything, you start to associate with the group primarily. So this being the first time that I've ever actually checked out Eunbi, she's kind of different in a way. I know that she was originally part of another group that didn't have like a super long run, but she obviously branched out and into like a solo type of artist, and so she's it's very strong. It's like even like she's got a unique vocal register. She's strikingly beautiful. She's got a choreography that feels very different also. Like this is something that, because I've been watching a lot of those series, actually I'm starting to like notice things about even the choreography that I, you know, didn't really understand, even surface level before. But I'm watching this, and the choreography it's interesting, man. It's like it's you know, she kind of reminds me of Chungha a little bit, you know. Obviously, that being another solo female artist that I can sort of compare it to, or, you know, make a connection on that level. But yeah, she's quite unique, it seems. This song is incredibly up tempo. Like it's very fast. She's got great rhythm, that's for sure. She has a fantastic sense of rhythm. The mix is everything in this mix sounds like massive. It sounds like huge. The bass, the percussion, the way that the sort of space that this mix is in has been engineered. It sounds like, you know, you're at the movies. It's like it's massive. It's huge. It's absolutely just cavernous, and it's also quite saturated. Like it's super busy. Yeah, you have most of your like shorter subdivisions, right? Like your 16 notes and everything. Those are going on mainly in the percussion, although there's little, you know, bits here and there throughout the bass and the rhythm part. But really, the percussion is leaning into that subdivision primarily. The bass is very, it's very good, man. It's very enjoyable. It really gives this song its like direction, which is, it makes sense. The bass is going to carry the chord progression. It's going to move that along, but it does some interesting things with the way that it's played. It's mostly hanging out on the 8th note subdivisions also, so there's plenty of space actually for the percussion work that's going on. Everything is also very staccato, like even the intro part has got this synth and some sort of pitched percussion, probably a plugin, with like reverb all over it, to emphasize that space, right? That huge space that's going on. But everything is actually quite staccato, except for perhaps like the synth rhythm sections, and the vocal is also probably the most legato or not detached type of sound that's going on. But even then, it's extremely busy on its rhythm as well. Like there's some very, very busy patterns that are going on. It's like kind of difficult patterns, man. Like the difficulty level is definitely there. Okay, let's see. Now there was a particular, I want to say it was a chorus. I think it was chorus. There's a sort of synth, sort of riser. This almost screaming, like flanging type of a sound that is one of the longest note durations technically, and it'll pan from the left and then in the right. There's sort of like a higher pitch and then like a lower pitch that sort of answers it, and it moves back and forth from the left to the right. And it was one of the things that stuck out to me. But it's quite busy. It's a nice bridge section, as is typical. You want to have a nice, good bridge section that sort of changes things up, gives you a little bit of space to move around in, especially with quite a up-tempo beat like this. It's so fast. Okay, look, let's see. So it's like it's very quick, and this staccato, it's almost like a synth strings, beep beep bump bump bump, but it's stacked on top of a pitch percussion, or something like a timpani or something, and so they have this arpeggiation that's going on, right? They're sort of are just, it's the chords, but they're arpeggiating through the different pitches, and it's so staccato. There's these triplet groups, it feels like, that are in there. It's in 4, but it's super fast. Like it's incredibly quick, and so this is quite a syncopated, detached little, almost like a motif that's going on here in the beginning. And man, and when it gets busy like right away. So this is interesting because the bass right away comes in, and it might do this again like pre-chorus, I think, but it's actually playing like whole note duration, so you can see how fast it is, right? Because it's 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. You listen to the bass, that's an entire whole, that's one measure, like it's one bar. It's moving super fast.
Can't run away. 이 순간에 갇혀 달콤함 뒤에 숨긴 어둠에 익숙해져가.
Incredibly, this is the same bridge that was in the Bet on Me video, right? The ITZY video, isn't it? It looks like it looks very similar, even the background, the buildings and everything. And that could be there might be like more than one bridge, but because of where it is sort of geographically, right? Like if it's in the same city or something like that, so it's going to have a similar type of architecture and everything. But it looks very, very familiar. That early morning lighting too, you know what I mean? There's like a lot of this kind of, it reminds me of that a lot. And there's a couple of other shots in here. I'm not necessarily connecting the two. I'm just saying that that's what it reminded me of. But the so we have this real like snappy percussion that's going on, right? Like it's almost sounds like wood blocks or something. Wood blocks, kind of pretty wet with reverb on it. So again, there's a lot of this emphasis on space. And I actually think her vocal line now is probably the cleanest signal. I mean, it's going to be EQ'd. There's going to be a little bit on there, but it's not like drenched in reverb or anything like that. But the see, automatically, what was it like? I think it was barely 4 bars. I think it just went through a 4-bar phrase of those whole note durations in the bass, and then all of a sudden it completely changed, and it's playing a similar pattern to what the intro percussion and synth was played, that sort of staccato motif going on with the arpeggios, and her vocal rhythm is super busy, man. Oh, she's all over the place, dude. Rhythm-wise, she goes down to the 16th note subdivision on some of these little phrases and everything, but then she has quarter notes that she's actually like completely legato, like very, very much connected, smooth, right? These melodic lines that she has going on, but it's super close to rapping, just not quite rapping. But she's hitting 16th note subdivisions in this incredibly fast song, and she's singing it. It's so fast. Oh, here we go. Whole notes in the bass. And that very sparkly, chimey ding 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 ding. Now that has got this arpeggio going, and it's a similar pattern. Probably different chords at this point. You know, that's going to change up a little bit. It's sort of phrases built off of 4 chord groups. Like the progression is okay, these 4 chords, and then moves on pre-chorus, these 4 chords. Chorus probably brings back the same verse progression. Super punchy percussion. See, the percussion is changed up now. It's not the little wood blocky, snappy, poppy type of percussion. It's full-on electronic drum sound now, and it's incredible. It's like splashy even. It's a super punchy sound, but because there's so much reverb on it, after you get that psh, there's this, you know, resonance, right? Like that sustain on that ksh, and so it's kind of like splashy, I guess, is the way that it sounds, right? She has one of those like super tight type of vocal sounds. Like she has a fairly high register, at least for this particular song, and that, you know, she's able to do things like apply vocal fry or breathiness, and very quickly too, because these phrases are going by so fast. But because she has that higher register, her overall like sound, the sort of it's such a short frequency, right? The wavelength on the frequency is going to be much faster. It's much shorter, and so it's a very like strong sound. Like it's very concentrated, right? Like it's a laser, like it's like a beam, you know, especially when she really starts to put some sustain on something and have a note duration, right? But it's so fast, man. There was some very cool little arpeggios that are going on the chorus parts. I'm the Flash and do 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 do. It's sort of like a chime type of sound. And then there's all this swirly kind of synth rhythm parts that are going off in the mix. You know, it's it's actually occupying a great deal of space. Busy as the percussion is and the bass has some incredible patterns in this song too. Like it has those pre-chorus whole notes that are going on, but after that, I really feel like it's sticking to that intro arpeggio pattern. It's very much like almost a fugue-like motif that's moving around in different parts at different times. I do like the chorus effect on the vocal. I think it's during the pre-chorus part. So before we get into this part, I'm the flash hook, in the flash hook. Is it I'm the flash or in the flash? I think it's in the flash, right? But it's a very nice sound actually. It's stereo on the vocals, so you're hearing sort of a layered effect, and it's spread out horizontally, so you're getting some in the left and some in the right at the same time. Crazy 808 bass, and it's huge now, right? And it's just like it has this little descending type of it's sort of sliding down. I say boom, 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 and so it actually is a whole note duration, but it has that slide down from in pitch. Essentially, it's a change up though. It doesn't sound the same. It's doing something different. There. Now the bass hook has come back. Oh, there's all kinds of like sotto voce, almost whispery, backing vocals, right? And they're panned left and right, but it's so crazy. It sounds like like whispers, or it's like like a little voice over here, and then it'll be over here, and it's it seemed like it should be kind of confusing or kind of disorienting. It isn't really, probably because they're so carefully EQ'd, and the levels that they're at, the dynamic sort of balance across the mix. But I mean, once you start paying attention to them, they really stand out. Like it's actually there's a lot of presence in there, for it being such a sort of hollow, whispered type of a sound, and it's quite a different, sort of timbre, right? A vocal timbre, and then especially in the mix, it's a different type of sound. If I'm trying to remember if I've heard something similar to that, it would have to be in maybe like an Icon track or something like that, so with some very niche, very deliberately handled production. It's quite interesting though. Huge sound. There's so much reverb. That's a nice line. And it's eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 3 4. She kind of so it's an ascending line, then it comes back down with basically like a whole note duration on the end. It's a great phrase. It's a fantastic phrase. It's a very nice vocal line. almost EDM like bass here, right? It's like real like wonky, like wah. It's, man, it's interesting. The production across the entire track gives everything a very almost uniform continuity. The tone qualities and everything fit so well together, but there's actually a worlds of difference as this song is moving from section to section. It just doesn't seem like it. It's almost like it's hidden, like it sneaks it in on you. You know what I mean? It's interesting. The drums, they're huge, dude. Boom, 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 boom. Like there's so much reverb, man. It's like the giant drum sound, right? Like the giant bass drum hit with the mallet. Boom, 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 boom. That's a crazy, crazy sound. It's massive. Everything in this mix is so big, man. The space, like the fact that it is not overwhelming is really cool. You know, like it's trying to take you into this like massive space, but like, you know, without it being this intimidating, crushing type of thing. That was a cool shot. Oh wow. Whoa. She's kind of a beast, you know what I mean? Like it, yeah. That's impressive. That's incredibly that's an incredible performance, actually. And she's got a very unique voice. It's not, it's, you know, you could compare it to maybe a couple of others, but she sounds very distinct. You know, and I'm trying to sort of bounce that off of like in my head, you know, different sounds or whatever. And it could also be influenced greatly by the production as well. But her sense of rhythm, though, you know, that like her ability to control across all of these, such a fast-paced song, rhythmically, melodically, it's pretty good, man. Like I gotta say, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, and this mix was massive, dude. This was massive. It sounds huge. It sounds like some IMAX stuff. Like seriously, it's the dimensions on this are incredibly, just like, you know, they're absolutely capacious. They're so huge, man. And but it's fun. It's definitely fun. It's definitely dynamic. And there's such a like clean continuity to, even though you're getting different bass sound, like quite significantly different bass sounds, not just in terms of particular rhythms, but there's, you know, from an 808 to, you know, some probably a different type of 808 or synth bass, but it's a tonal shift, timbre, tone, everything is different from you know, maybe a pre-chorus right into chorus and then back into verse. There's all these shifts, all these change-ups in between, but it between the incredibly upbeat tempo and the way that the production on it is handled, it's got this absolutely flawless continuity to it. You hardly notice that anything has changed, you know, unless you're carefully listening to it. If I first listened, I was like, okay, but it really stood out going back and focusing in a little bit more on each part, that there's these incredibly dramatic changes that are taking place, and it happens so quickly. And I guess that's the concept, right? Like, that is the Flash. Like, it changed, and it's almost like, like they're trying to trick you with it. They're trying to obscure some perception or some interpretation of it with its momentum, and then the sort of overall texture that it's all sort of wrapped up in, like throughout the whole song. It's really interesting stuff, man. This is quite a impressive performance too, I gotta say. I wasn't sure what to expect. I've long since learned not to really worry about that, because it's never going to be what you think it is, that's for sure. But I was not expecting something to be this strong, basically on all levels, on everything. For the mix, the vocal, in terms of rhythm, in terms of melody and stuff. I thought it was going to be more, I don't know, more of a classical type of song style maybe, but it really wasn't. It was quite the opposite, but it was good. It was good, man. It was good. She's impressive. It's impressive for many reasons. I'm super curious about the original group then that she started in. I would expect that over time, as someone stays in, they sort of improve and develop on in the craft, and in their particular skills and abilities and whatnot. But if I were to try and perhaps guess, or based off of like this, it was probably a pretty solid group that she started in, because this is very high level. And I just have this feeling like the group was actually pretty good. That's based off of how good this particular song was. It's a it's a great she is extremely talented in performance. She's also quite a visual, like, and they it's a treat. The music video, yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's very entertaining. It's a lot of very glamorous looks, a lot of very glamorous shots. It's quite dramatic. Something like that, shot composition like this. The star, such a dramatic fall off on the shadow. It's it gives it such a sharp contrast. A lot of these shots are fantastic. Like, these are really good. Look how clean this is, man. She's so. The focus is insane. This shot is nuts. Like, look, you see the individual strands of hair on the right around the face, right? There's a little bit of blur around it, but what an insane shot. Like, a lot of this is, man, it's crazy, dude. This is really cool. Just the production level and stuff. Well, anyways, I'm trying to look for stuff now, but yeah, really cool stuff, man. Like, the production quality from the visual to the audio and everything is quite impressive, man. I guess I'm gonna have to check out more. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to look up more Eunbi, that's for sure. That was fun. This is a fun song. It's a fun video. It's a very fun song. It's got a super cool mix. It's massive. It's huge. It's like brilliantly engineered as far as the audio production on it. She's quite gorgeous. Everything about this is really, really awesome. So, man, Eunbi, The Flash. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to investigate this a little bit more. You know what I mean? This was fun.